Are you one of many people out there struggling with hip pain? Whether it's caused by an injury, sitting for long periods, or a sedentary lifestyle, hip pain can be a major roadblock to your daily routine. Rehab work can improve our movements, but we need to keep doing it if we want to maintain those results. Rehab must become prehab. That's why I want to share 6 moves to help you keep those hips and even your lower back and knees healthy and happy. And at the end, I'll share a quick series combining these moves that you can even use daily. Exercise number 1, rectus femoris foam rolling. Especially if you spend a ton of time seated, you want to spend some time rolling out those tight and overactive hip flexors. One key hip flexor muscle to focus on is the rectus femoris. This quad muscle is the only one to impact both the knee and hip, so tightness can not only perpetuate your hip pain, but also your knee and even lower back aches and pains. To roll out this muscle, a ball really does work best. The smaller and harder the ball, the more it's going to dig in, so if you're starting out and it's too much pressure, you can always use a roller. But you're going to find the middle of the front of your thigh and you're going to place a ball in it, and then you're actually going to lie over that ball to hold on it. You don't want to move really quickly. You want to find one spot right in the center. You can even relax from your forearms down to the ground if it feels more comfortable, but you want to tense against it, sort of flexing that quad and then relax and release. Tense against it and hold, and then relax and release. When you tense and then relax, you actually help the muscle relax and release itself. Once you've released one area, you can actually move the ball slightly up or slightly down, but you want to make sure that you're holding and breathing and actually relaxing into the ball. If you find that you're tensing against it, that might be a time that you actually use a roller instead. It's best to try and work on one side independently of the other, but you want to think about finding a spot right in the middle of the front of your thigh, holding, flexing that quad against it, really straightening the knee, and then relaxing out. Flexing against it, and then relaxing back out. And then again, searching for another spot. But by using the roller, it will apply less pressure than if you actually use the ball. Exercise number 2, adductor foam rolling. Tightness of our adductors or inner thighs can perpetuate hip pain as well, causing hip alignment issues and even knee tracking issues. If you find your knees tend to cave in and you struggle to feel your glute medius or side butt working, you may want to address any adductor tightness. The adductors are also a hip flexor, so tightness there may be limiting your hip extension as well. To roll out your adductors, a roller really does work best. You'll want to position yourself sort of on your side a little bit and then bring your knee up to about 90 degrees, so bending your hip to about 90 degrees, placing the inside of your knee on the roller. Right from here, you might roll up slightly towards your groin or back down towards your knee. Once you find a tight spot, you want to try and hold and relax and release. You can then lift your foot slightly up towards the ceiling and relax it back down. You're internally rotating your hip here and turning your knee slightly down towards the ground. It doesn't have to be a big movement, but you want to focus on holding and relaxing into this and even pushing down into the roller slightly and then relaxing back out. Because by pushing down, you're actually adducting or bringing your knee towards the other leg. So that is actually the action the muscle performs. And so you're tensing it and then you're relaxing. You're tensing it and then you're relaxing. And then you can move up or down your inner thigh to work out any places of tightness, but make sure that you actually hold on any spots and then breathe and relax. If you're tensing against it and just holding that tension, you're not gonna help the muscle relax and release itself. Then you wanna include stretching. If you're doing this as part of your warm-up series, stretches that get your joints moving through a full range of motion are key. Exercise number 3 is the bench, hip, and quad stretch. This stretch will help improve your hip extension and stretch out any short or tight hip flexors. The key with this move is to focus on that back glute engaging to drive that back hip forward. This stretch will isolate each side independently and really start to warm up your legs. It's basically a balance lunge. To do this stretch, you're gonna wanna set up a bench behind you. It is best to actually set up from the ground up because this allows you to really get the positioning correctly. If you can't knee on the ground, I will show you some modifications. But you wanna set that back foot on the bench and then think about engaging this glute to drive this hip into extension. Just by squeezing that back glute, you're going to feel your hips even stretching. This makes sure that you're not putting your hip back into flexion by leaning forward or by actually not having that full glute engagement. Not to mention it does start to work on activation of that mind-body connection. So by focusing on that glute engaging, you're driving that hip into extension to stretch out your hip flexors. You're then going to be working through a full range of motion, which is key to really start to strengthen through that full range of motion and will translate well to your lifting sessions. Focus then on your knee being about aligned over your ankle. You're then going to drive up through the front and back foot, and then you're going to lower back down. Okay? As you warm up, you might find that you get a few kinks working out, but you want to focus on really engaging that back glute to keep that hip in extension as you come up, and then you're going to go back down. Okay? If you're finding that you can't complete that full range of motion, you can place a block or pillow underneath your knee. The pillow, of course, will be a little bit softer, but again, putting that foot up there, again, setting up so that you can engage that back glute, pushing up, and then coming back down. Okay, squeezing that back glute the entire time. Again, working on that mind-body connection, but also that hip extension. If you need something to balance as well, a foam roller can work well. You can also hold on to a suspension trainer, but this can help you really start to work through that full range of motion to not only activate and stretch, but even start to strengthen. Exercise number 4 is alternating pigeon pose. The pigeon pose stretch is an amazing stretch to improve your hip mobility, especially if you've ever had sciatic pain, lower back pain, or even IT band and knee issues. However, the static version isn't a great way to warm up your body for work. With this variation, moving through that full range of motion, you can implement the stretch while really mobilizing those hips. To do the alternating pigeon pose, you're gonna start on your hands and knees. You're then gonna pivot your body, sinking into a pigeon pose on the first side. You're gonna walk your hands to one side, and as you do, you're gonna swing that leg back and across behind you. When you sit back, you wanna sit back into that front glute. You're gonna feel the stretch there. As you extend the other leg back behind you, you do want to be conscious of that back glute also engaging to drive the hip into extension. You're going to reach forward on the ground. As you do, try not to let your heel just swing all the way back and try and keep it out as much as you can perpendicular to your body. And you can even adjust it as you go based on your mobility and flexibility. Engaging that back glute to drive that hip into extension as you reach out. You're gonna pause for a breath here, then you're gonna move back into that hands and knee position, and then you're gonna actually swing the other leg behind you to sit back. Again, reaching out, focusing on sitting back in this glute to feel that stretch, focusing on that glute engaging to drive that other hip into extension, and pause, and then you're gonna move back. If for any reason you can't get down on the ground, you can do the pigeon off of the bench. You'll cross one ankle over, pushing the knee open, even leaning forward, and then you'll sit back up and you'll switch sides. If with any of these variations you do find that you're feeling pressure in the outside of your knee, make sure that you flex your foot. By flexing your foot, you're gonna create tension up your lower leg, which can really help protect your knee as well. Whether or not it's on the ground, so if you actually do that hands and knee position and you're twisting behind, flexing that front foot can help protect that knee if you do struggle with any pressure in your knee with that movement. Next, you want to include focus activation exercises. While with the stretching, you want to focus on what you feel even working to drive the stretch and begin the activation process. These moves are really key to get those underactive muscles working and improve your hip and even pelvic stability. The first activation exercise really focuses on activating those glutes. Exercise number 5 is the wall side-lying lateral raise. Too often, especially if we've had lower back, hip, or knee injuries, our glutes aren't working as effectively as they should be, and we need to work to improve that mind-body connection. Isolation moves like this one create a slight pump and burn, but they don't fatigue the muscle, especially when we're including them prior to our training. The wall side-lying lateral raise is an amazing move to really target your glute medius and your glute max, and it isolates each side independently so that you can focus on any imbalances you might have. To do this move, you want to have a wall behind you. You can lie on your side, either propped up on your forearm or all the way extended out, depending on how much you feel your oblique or other things starting to take over. When you do this move, you want to bend that bottom leg and even put the foot flat against the wall. You want to be a few inches out from the wall so you can actually kick back. You're going to take that top leg and drive the heel into the wall behind you. This will engage your glute max, which will help you better engage your glute medius. You want to really focus on that hip extension, so don't end up leaning forward. When you're doing this too, you want to turn that top toe down. Often we struggle to get our glutes to engage even though we're doing the right movements, and we'll find that our TFL or even our piriformis will start to take over, and that ends up perpetuating the issues even though we're doing the correct exercises to help ourselves. So when you do this, drive back into the wall behind you to engage that glute max, which will help inhibit that TFL, which is a hip flexor. Make sure you're turning that toe down, which can help prevent external rotation, which can lead to that piriformis becoming overused. And also by turning your toe down, you are gonna help prevent that TFL from compensating as well. So from this position, you then wanna drive your heel back into the wall as you lift up and lower back down. You really wanna focus on feeling the side of your glute as you raise up, and then you wanna feel the back of your butt as you're pushing the heel into the wall, and then you'll lower down. Don't try and rotate open or turn to make this movement bigger. That's where you're gonna start to see compensations occur. Really focus on that drive back and then also that lift up. Don't crunch more than you have to the side as well, okay? If you wanna advance the move, you can use a mini band and actually place it right above your knees as you set up for this movement. But make sure that you're only advancing the move or adding resistance if you can really control it and feel the muscles working. I know a lot of times we think, oh, I don't feel them working because it's too easy, but we want that mind-body connection to be able to recruit the muscles even with the body weight variation. So if you can't feel it with the body weight variation, you haven't yet earned the mini band or any resistance. Again, turning that toe slightly down, pushing back into the wall, and then lifting up. Don't try and cheat and make it bigger, and then lower down. You want tension on that band the entire time, but you want to focus on that drive back as you also use your glute to really lift. Again, it's a great move to really isolate each side independently so that you're correcting any imbalances you might have between sides. The final exercise in this series is gonna work on your pelvic stability, engaging your entire core, your glutes, as well as your hamstrings. Exercise number 6 is alternating pelvic tilt leg glides. Often our hamstrings feel tight and we turn to stretching, but in many cases, they're also weak. And even being weak, they may wanna take over for underactive glutes. That's why exercises like this one that work on your core stability as they strengthen your hamstrings can really help you avoid hamstring strains and injuries. To do this move, you can use sliders, you can use furniture movers, towels on hardwood floors, even socks. I have some booties right here, but you're going to lie on your back with the objects that you choose to use to slide underneath your heels. You wanna make sure that you're engaging your abs by drawing your hip bones up towards your ribs, really thinking about hollowing out that belly to brace that core. And then from here, you're going to really focus on keeping your pelvis stable as you extend one leg out. As you do, you're pressing down into the ground with the extension, and then you're focusing on really curling that heel back in with your hamstring. You wanna activate that hamstring as much as possible by driving down into the ground, and then by pretending like you're almost pulling the ground up as you pull back in. Make sure that your hips aren't just all loosey-goosey, moving all over the place. You wanna focus on really keeping your core stable. You can even focus on thinking about pulling those hip bones up towards the rib cage, and then you wanna extend out, and then pull back in with the hamstring, and then alternate sides. If you are finding this too challenging to keep your hips stable without your pelvis moving, you can stay on one side at a time. But if you can, you wanna focus on alternating sides, keeping everything really stable, pressing that low back even slightly into the ground as you're really pulling that belly button in and pulling the heel in with your hamstrings. Focus not just on making this move easy and sliding in and out, but really focus on driving down into the ground as you create that tension to pull in with your hamstrings. That's the best way to make sure that they're actually engaging. You will even feel your glutes working as you do that slight posterior pelvic tilt, drawing your hip bones up towards your rib cage. It's really key that you focus on that pelvic stability as you're working your hamstrings. To combine these 6 moves, try the series below. I like using intervals as it really allows us to focus on maximizing the movement over counting reps. While you can do each move for up to a minute per move or per side, even 30 seconds is a great place to start. If you like the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.